Welcome back to the channel, everyone. And thank you to all those loyal subscribers who have stayed with me for the past 2 years, despite me not making any videos. But I'm back in Australia, had a wonderful time in Japan, and I'm ready to make more content for you guys for your sake. I mean, I'm not really getting anything out of this, except it's actually quite fun making videos for you guys, and hopefully it'll benefit you and actually anyone else who comes or stumbles across this channel. So hopefully it is beneficial for you. And let's get started with the video. So our topic today is what is TEAL? Now, this is a request that I've gotten from a lot of students, and it's something that I've explained about 100 times, and it's kind of getting repetitive for me. So I thought I'd make this video and then just redirect everyone to this video. So hopefully, like I said, this is beneficial for you. Now, what is TEAL? Let's get stuck into it. So this is your guide to writing a body paragraph, not a guide to writing a full essay. Introduction and conclusion are quite simple, in my opinion, but the body paragraph is where we really want to focus on and try to understand that as much as we can. Now, this is the content that I'm going to be going through. So first, the purpose of why do we write essays in general? I think once you understand that, maybe you might feel a little more motivated to write it. The structure and the basic structure of TEAL, the text, what do I need to know about my text to be able to actually write a paragraph, and by extension, the actual essay. And the analysis, how do I analyze, which is actually a really important point that I'm going to spend quite some time on. And I've got 2 example body paragraphs for you at the end. So first off, what is the purpose? In short, we write essays to academically present our ideas. Now, you're not going to be writing just essays in school. You'll be writing essays in university as well. But let's say you're not planning to go that far, but you will still have to write academically, whether it's corresponding with other people, companies, job interviews, the governments. You're going to need to write academically. Now, body paragraphs, essays consist of 3 of them. They are the most important parts of your essay, and I cannot stress this enough. It is where you show your knowledge of the text and grammar skill. So if one is missing, then you're kind of not going to have a good body paragraph anyways. So you can't write a body paragraph if you don't have knowledge of the text first, right? So most of your marks as an assessor, most of your marks will be given to how well you write these paragraphs. The body paragraphs are the most important. Why? Because it is there that you show the most of your knowledge and your skill as a writer. So that's where we go to when we want to give you those marks. Let's get into the TEAL. So TEAL stands for, I like to use TEAL. Now, you may have seen different variations, but I would say TEAL is the simplest one. Why? Because it has topic sentence, it has evidence, but it has analysis. And TEAL reminds you to analyze. Because let's face it, some of you forget to analyze in a body paragraph. And you finally have the link, which is common in most of them. Now the structure, very simple. The topic sentence, it is 1 to 2 sentences of the main idea of your paragraph. Following that is evidence. It can be a quote from the text that directly proves and supports the idea of your topic sentence. So I like to say it should fit like Tetris. It should be hand in hand, your topic sentence and your evidence. If you're talking about deforestation, then you should prove the evidence through the evidence of deforestation. You shouldn't start talking about animals. You shouldn't start talking about the Brazilian government if you're talking about the Amazon rainforest, right? And then the analysis. This is the most important part, and it is where you discuss the meaning of your evidence. So your evidence ties into your main idea, right? So these 2 need to be spot on so that your analysis can then be spot on. So you really need to be sure of your topic sentence, as in what idea you're going to be talking about in that paragraph, and also to make sure the evidence exactly fits the topic sentence and the main idea so that you can analyze properly, so that you can analyze so that it actually works, so that you can actually get the marks for analyzing properly. Because if you still analyze the wrong idea, then your paragraph and your whole essay falls apart. So then your analysis has been kind of pointless, right? So ask yourself, why and how when you're discussing the meaning of the evidence in the analysis. Now, we're going to go into that a little more detail soon. And finally, you link your main idea to the paragraph to the prompt, right? So before we move on to the other parts, evidence, there are three types of evidences, and I've kept it kind of simple here. So you've got facts, which are real information that is proven, right? It's not going to change. The statistics, these are numbers. So whenever you see numbers, just assume it can be statistics, but make sure it's actually a statistic, right? And not just it could be a date, for example, you never know. And anecdotal, these are the experiences or a quote of a person. Now, it can be in a film, can be in a text, right? Which one do you use and when can be the big question on your mind. Now, as a writer, if you understand what your main idea is and you have a good understanding of the text, you should know which one to use. Why? Because you will feel more confident analyzing the evidence that you know how to use and the one you know connects to your main idea. Right? I hope you understand that. Now, understanding the text is a big part of actually writing the essay. So know the text before you write the essay for it. And I've heard so many students say, I haven't even read the book and the essay is tomorrow. So I'm sitting there. Yep. Okay. That's nice. What do I need to know about the text? Right. So knowing the text doesn't simply mean to read and watch it once. Here's what you should take note of. Now, the context. So these are some questions that I've put there. Now you can take extra time to read through it, but I'm going to go through it really quickly. So if you would like to just pause the video right now, you can have a detailed look, or you can also pause after I go through each of the main titles, right? So you have the context. Now, context is really, really important to understand. Why? Because it helps you understand why things happen in the story. And it also helps you to analyze the meaning of what has happened, right? The author can also potentially use real-world examples to help further the storyline or to give meaning to the actions of characters. So the context is really, really important. So if you're studying To Kill a Mockingbird, for example, you should look up the American Civil War, for example, or the slave trade. You should have some knowledge about that. Why was America so invested into those things? That'll help you to understand why certain characters did what. Which leads to the next point. The characters know their actions, their personalities. Why are they behaving in this way? Is it for a specific reason that links to the context? Or is the author trying to do something though? And the development of these characters. How were they when they first started in the text compared to the middle and then compared to the end? Do you see a natural progression of development? That's something to analyze. And finally, the literary devices. What does the author do to enhance a text? Or also, how do they provide the information for you to understand that can relate to the previous three? So like I said, you might want to pause between each of the titles or maybe revisit what I said. And the big part, the analysis. Here is where you write to impress, yeah? So what are you supposed to analyze, let's say? So it can be done in two ways. You have the idea side and you have the style side. So the ideas is kind of more easier to understand because it's something that we might be used to doing. So you ask yourself, what is being shown in the text? Now, two things are shown. The themes, which are the ideas, and the characters. So who is saying and doing what? Right? These two are very simple. Whereas the style side is the way the author has presented the text, the way they have presented the themes and the characters. What have they used? If it's a film, you're looking at cinematography, right? You're looking at lighting and all those things. What is the director doing? So when it comes to the structure of the text, if it's a film, the progression of the storyline, the progression of the scenes, right? And the language, of course, so the vocabulary, the literary devices, and the expressions that are being used to present such ideas. Now, building your analysis. Now, think about a key scene that you know very well and ask yourself the following questions. Number one, who was involved? So a scene can be a combination of characters. And what you need to know is their interactions and behaviors towards each other. So secondly, what did they say and what did they do? So take note of what they are saying. These are your quotes and how they are behaving. Not exactly what they are doing, but how they are doing it as well. Do these reveal anything about the characters? Were they always like this? So obviously we know if someone is, well, lying, we can maybe wrongfully assume that they are not a good person. However, we need to look more into it rather than just simply judge, right? So what information is being given through these actions? From the above, you can guess which ideas the author is trying to show the readers. So this is where you start to find your themes, right? The actions and quotes of characters represent these ideas or themes as a symbol by the author. Now, if I take a pen and I say, what does a pen mean? Some of you might say a pen is used to write. Whereas some of you who are thinking more metaphorically or symbolically could say that this pen represents intelligence. Or when I look at a pen, what comes to my mind could be the pen is mightier than the sword. So that is a completely different analysis compared to saying, yeah, I write with a pen. So do you see how you need to start thinking a little bit differently when authors or filmmakers present you with such objects of significance? You need to show why it is significant. And the essay is for you to do that academically and in a structured way. And finally, why is it important? So what is the meaning behind the characters and their actions? Is a message being sent to readers by the author? Find the reason for why the author included this scene. If you find out why it's important, then you can start to analyze the bits and pieces that actually make it important. Now, I like to say this when it comes to writing a body paragraph, but 3/4 of your paragraph should be analysis, not evidence. The amount of times I've seen this, it's actually funny to me, but it's actually also quite tragic for you guys. 3/4 of your paragraph should be analysis, please, not evidence. So I give you 2 examples here, and you can go through them in your own time a lot longer if you like. However, they're quite short, obviously, because of the limited space. But this one's about the Amazon rainforest. You can pause and read it. And the next one is about the play Romeo and Juliet, which is a little more advanced, right? Some of you may have studied it, so it might make more sense. And some of you may probably are already studying or going to study it. So I'd like to finish off by saying the following quote. It's not about how much practice you do, but how well you learn from what you've done. There's also another one that I like to say, it's practice doesn't make perfect, but perfect practice makes perfect. So if you practice writing in the wrong way, you practice the wrong structure, then you're just going to get better at doing the wrong thing, which isn't what you want, right? So that's it for this video in terms of the body paragraph or writing a body paragraph. There will be other videos coming along, and if you've managed to stay this far into the video, I hope it was helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. See ya.